In today's day more than ever, Photoshop is a really valuable skill to have because not only can you create all sorts of graphics and designs that you want, you can even potentially monetize this skill set. In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know step by step to get started using Photoshop as a complete beginner. My name is King Rest, and without any further ado, let's get right into it. So first, when you open your Photoshop for the first time, where are you at? There you are. Yeah, it's loading. So when you boot up your Photoshop, this is the first thing you'll see. And the first step to take to begin is to click this big blue button saying new file. Now, once you click new file, this will pop up. In this place, you are going to be able to set the resolution of your project. In this case, I'm going to make it 1920 by 1080, which is the regular rectangular format. But I mean, you can make it whatever you want. So right after that, once you are done selecting your resolutions, go over to the next big blue button saying create over here. And voila, you are welcomed by the entire interface of the Photoshop program. Before we dive right in, I would like to say to you, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you don't miss. Leave your comments, ask your questions. The next step is going to be importing our pictures into Photoshop so we can start working on it. This right here is one of my favorite photographs from one of my favorite photographers, shot by Enoma. So what I will do is I'm just going to drag and drop into the project. And then just like that, I was able to import it. The other way is to get your images into Photoshop. You can go to your file over here and find your way all the way to import. But generally, just dragging your image and dropping it into your project works for me. It's faster. This is an important part. Whenever you import a picture into Photoshop, you can go ahead to these white dots at the edge of the image and then scale to fit the dimension. So sadly here, this image does not fit, but I don't think we need so much of it. So let's try scaling it. Okay, we can just get like a close up. Okay, let's work with this. Once you are sure you are satisfied with what you have, double tap or click done. And then if you ever want to make changes to it, you can go over to your edit and click transform. Also, if you want to reshape this image and you don't want all the proportions to be exactly the same, so you just want to stretch it out or pull it up, you can hold down on your shift button and navigate to any of these white dots, either the top, let's use this side, and then you can pull it in a very stretched way like this. But I mean, we don't want that kind of destroys this image. The photographer will not snap me anymore, will shoot me. Let's go over the extra layouts of the software. Obviously here, this whole dark middle part, we have the working area. This right here is where we see the final product that we have right now. Even this is not yet edited, but this is where we see everything from beginning of the work to the final product. And on the right side over here, we have a bunch of things. Let's start here. This right here is the history part. Any changes that you make to your edit is going to be recorded here. Just now when we moved it around, you see the move. When we pulled it in and we placed it in the timeline, you see place embedded. When we created a new project, which is this project, new, you can see every single step you make is going to be recorded here. So with this, you'll be able to move back and forth between different adjustments that you make. And then on the right side here, we have the color selector. We also have the swatches, gradients, and the patterns. And then under that, we have properties, adjustments, libraries. I think we'll go into this a bit. So let's click on the adjustment tab. Here you can make all sorts of adjustments to your image. You can get it all black and white, creative. This is like color adjustments and more really, if you notice. See, it quickly changes the color of the image. And you can quickly preview and see the properties over here shows the properties of the layer. That's the resolution as we entered into it, the color mode, obviously RGB, the fill white, that was this, the fill is white. And then we have our libraries here as well. And then at the bottom, we have our layers area. The layers panel is another important part where you'll be spending a lot of time. The layers area is kind of what it sounds like. You have the different layers of the picture stacked, and here you can change the order of which things are placed in the layers area. So for example, if you had two pictures or say a text on this picture, and then you change the order of the text and the picture or the two pictures, so what will be displayed here is how it is arranged in the layer. So if there's a text layer on top of the picture, it's going to be the text showing above this image. If it is the text underneath, I mean, the text won't show since the image currently covers the whole canvas. If you want, you can also hide a layer here, or you can like change the order of the layers as I said earlier, and so on. This is another area that you're going to be using a lot. Outside of that, over towards your left here, we have different tools. You can see file, edit, image layer. Here, you can make changes in different ways to different things. In file over here, you have the part where you can create new projects. You can open a recent project, close this project, save this project. You can also export it. You can also import and more. Over in edit, you can undo, or you can also do that with Control Z. You can copy, paste, search, fill, stroke. In your image, you can adjust. I mean, if you want to adjust this, which is something you can also do here. The adjustment layer is also here, but I mean, you can get it here manually. And the layers. Here you can merge down, merge visible. You can also do that here by highlighting and left clicking, and you can find most of the same options here. And you can also use your shortcuts on your keyboard, control this, control that, to immediately make your work faster. That's basically it. The main things you're going to be using in your edit are mostly in this area here, from your right of your screen to your left of your screen, where your tools are, to your layer. I want to go into the layers a little bit more right now. Let's add a text so that I can really properly explain what I'm talking about. Let's say now look over to our layers panel over here. You see we have three different layers. We have the background layer, which we can't see because it's covered by the image layer, and then we have the text layer. So you can lock a layer by clicking this lock icon towards your right. What that does is, right now as it is locked, let's turn off the image layer and turn off the text layer. Right now, as the background layer is locked, you cannot effect it. No matter how you click, no matter what you do, you can't make any changes to that layer until you click off the lock icon. And here you can pull it out, you can resize it, click Ctrl Z. Also, after you've unlocked the layer, if you want to lock it back, just so that, I mean, in case you are done with all the work on that layer and you don't want to mistakenly change things while you are trying to make changes to other layers, you can go over here. You see this lock icon and you lock it. Moving things around in your layers panel, if you move the background layer above the picture layer, see what it does. If you move the image layer over the text layer, this is what it does. It hides it. As I will say, to taste, you will arrange the layers how you want your design to come out. Right now, I'm going to add another image to our design, and it's going to be the light leak. Let's pull it in. Let's take this and just pull it in. So as you can see, to further explain how the layers work, as I pull in the light leak, it is on top of the image layer. As you can see also in the layer section, and if you pull it below, it is hidden. You can't see it because it is underneath the layer. So yeah, let's just keep that like this. Another cool feature which Photoshop has is the blending mode over here where you see normal. But it has many other options. It has dissolve, it has darken. You can see how it changes, multiply, color burn, linear, and a whole lot more. So yeah, the blend mode helps you to be able to blend these two images seamlessly. And with the options there, you can personally select just how well you want your light leak to blend with your image. So to create a light leak effect, let's put this on. Let's put the blend mode on screen. And as you can see, we're able to create this little effect. Let's reduce the size a bit so we can see all the corners of the image. So you notice what happened when we converted our blend mode to screen for the light leak. It took away all the dark parts, just leaving the light parts. It's helping us properly blend the light leak with the picture. And then you can also adjust the opacity of a layer by coming over to this point here where you see opacity in your layers panel. It's at 100% and you click that drop down arrow, you will see a slider. Here you can adjust the level of the opacity, how clear or how faint it is. Pulling it back takes it off totally. Bringing it a bit brings it a little bit in, and then till it's completely clear. So the more you adjust the slider over here, the more see-through or the more visible your image is going to be for the opacity. If you didn't exactly notice the opacity work on this light leak layer, let's use the image layer. So going over to the drop down arrow and your slider, the more you adjust it, you can see immediately that your image oscillates from visible to faint. Now, once you have a bunch of layers on your layers tab, what you can also do is you can group layers together. You can go ahead and select the different layers that you want. And I'll select these two here and here. put this on. So you can pull both of them down to this folder icon here. This icon, if you touch on it, you'll see create new group. So if you pull those two layers onto it, it automatically creates a group with those two layers, or you can highlight both and create a new group from layers. You can name it however you want to and then click OK. And there you can immediately add effects to both layers, both the light leak and your image layer. You can turn them off at the same time simultaneously. You can also create a new layer by clicking on this little plus button over here. So after clicking this plus icon to create a new layer, as you can see, you have created a new layer over here. So if you want to delete a layer, you can pull it down to this bin icon, or you can backspace. I prefer the backspace, it's easier. Just get the fuck. To open and close a folder like this grouped folder, you can click on the mini drop down arrow icon towards the left here. Now I want to show you a really cool feature with Photoshop, which is the generative fill AI feature. But sadly, I don't have it on this particular software. But what the generative fill does, I think I can explain it. This is the generative fill option here. Here you can select the subject. Let's turn off this particular layer and let's affect this layer. Here you can select the subject and it automatically saves. This is something that normally you would use tools over here, which we'll get into later, to pick the edges carefully. But now with the recent softwares, you can immediately just click that and highlight. Here you can immediately cut out or affect it however you want, and also immediately remove background. This is also with the generative fill. Normally doing things like this, as I said, it takes a bit of detailing, even though this will still require extra work. But you can see what it did with the hair. It kept those little strands. I know it's exactly very smooth, but you can already give it a thumbs up. I'm going to dedicate a 5 to 10 minutes tutorial to explain how to use the generative fill and other upgrades, but I don't want to deviate too far from explaining to a beginner how to use Photoshop. So let's double back. So you can click Ctrl Z. The generative AI field is relatively new to the software, so I think it's something you might want to utilize as well. You don't need so much knowledge to be able to use these AI features. It's plug, text, play. As I said, removing the background or generating some flowers in her background or changing one to another, normally manually to take a heck of a time, but with the new upgrades, the generative AI field. Next up, I want to go through all of the key tools over here that you'll be using on a day-to-day basis. So here we'll go to our toolbar section on the left hand side. First tool is the move tool. If you hover over each tool, it will bring out a little animation to how or what that tool is supposed to be used for. But let's start with the move tool. With this one, it's pretty easy. You can choose a layer and then just move around. Then next up, we have the selection tool. And if you right click on it, you can see extra options. So most of these tools, you can look at the bottom right, you see a little drop down arrow. So if there's a drop down arrow, that means there are extra tools. So for the selection tool, you can see the rectangular marquee tool, the elliptical marquee tool, the single row marquee tool, the single column tool. You can basically make a selection with this. That's the point, like this. Yeah. Okay, let's try this. Let's take the elliptical tool. If, let's say, I wanted to take out a selection from this picture, say her head like this, you can use this, click Ctrl X, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then you can create multiple selections from that cut that you just made and paste it across your timeline. Go to your move tool and you can have multiple of this now just from that selection. I'm going to turn this off, not necessarily delete them, and go back to our first layer. Ctrl V to paste. It pasted it in a new layer. So you can notice that a couple of layers have been created here. I pasted it 4 times, and as you can see, there are 4 layers over here. The next tool is also some sort of a selection tool. It's called the lasso tool. This is it, the magnetic lasso tool. This selects a little bit more accurately or more precisely, as you can see here on the animation. With it, you kind of select, in a more free way, unlike the selection tool over here, where if it's an elliptical, it's an elliptical. If it's a rectangle, it's a rectangle. If it's a straight line, it's a straight line. But with the lasso tool, you can, just roughly cut around what you feel you need. And because it's magnetic, you can, to some extent, trace almost accurately if you are careful, and it will just be moving across whatever object. It's kind of smart, so if you are careful, it will get your job done pretty fast. But I mean, it's more of a free selection tool than the previous one. Yeah, so if you want to redo this selection, you can just click deselect over here and you get rid of it. And then the next one is the quick selection tool. This is a quick selection tool. With this one, you can very easily and quickly select different objects, different shapes by basically just roughly drawing around it. As it is named, a quick selection tool. You just quickly select. And then for corners like this, say you wanted to select this fine looking girl in this photo only without the background. As you can see, edges like this and these middle spaces have been selected also. So you can navigate all the way to the top here where you see the negative quick selection tool with the minus. You can see the add to selection. You can see the subtract to selection. Click on it. Highlight the area you want out. Okay, so go ahead and deselect. Also, if you want to make some detailed selections, especially with this tool, let me select this back once again. To make some more fine-tuned adjustments to your selection, press Q on your keyboard. As you can see now, it shows in red all the areas that are not in your selection, and you can zoom in, see this area. So it's easy to notice the parts that your selections did not see. But then if you come over to the brush tool, we've not spoken about that, but you will be able to make these tiny little adjustments like this. But to get that done, once you click your brush tool, check your color panel over here. If it is this white, that is your primary color. If it is the white that's your primary color, you'll be able to subtract. These parts are currently also selected with this image. That's what I just did by painting over with a brush tool, but on the white paint. But then if I want to remove a selection, say this part now, I don't want it to be selected with this image. I switch over to the black paint and I can paint over. You can go over here to increase your brush strokes to not waste your time if in case you want to do things faster. So to come out of this selection mode, you can click Q on your keyboard once again. So if you are already happy with what you've selected, you can do exactly what we did before with the Command C to copy your selection and Command V to paste in a different layer. And then there you go. Alright, so the next tool here in the lineup, it is the crop tool. So this crop tool also does what you imagine it to do. It trims and crops. It's like a selection tool, but you're not just selecting a section of the image, but of the whole. If you get what I mean, like this, you can crop to this section and crop to this section, and then, yeah, and you just want this and click enter. And then here you go, your crop, Ctrl Z. Then the next tool, we have the frame tool. Here you can create placeholders for images. The next tool, the eyedropper tool, you can get the exact colors that you want with a selection. So let's say you wanted this particular shade of blue over here. It's quite different from the rest. I mean, if you go over to your colors panel over here and you try to recreate it yourself, you will find yourself tracing and tracing, trying to get your eyes to match the two colors. But you can just, with the eyedropper tool, touch on it and you have immediately over here, you can see you have picked that color. And the next tool, spot healing brush tool. So this tool is important and it's good for healing or cleaning some tiny imperfections. Let's say she had some flaws on this her flawless milky skin and you wanted to take it out. You just rub across, so you get what I'm talking about. Let's zoom in a bit and call this an imperfection on the arm here. So with the spot healing tool, you can just trace over like this. And as you can see, it's gone. If for some reason you mistook her gorgeous looking eyes for an imperfection, because I want to show you something a little bigger, you can do this. And voila. So the next tool is the brush tool. The brush tool is a very versatile tool. It can do like a bunch of things. As you can see, we already used it in the selection tool. That's one thing it can do. With the brush tool selected, you can go over to the top to select different type of brushes. Here, you can have different type of brush strokes, hard, round, soft, dry, wet. You can increase the size, increase the hardness of the brush. And with the hardness, that is basically how hard the edges are. You can really just choose from all these different templates that you have here. You can also choose the mode of the brush. You can put it in screen where it will paint over the lightest parts or it will paint over the darkest parts. I mean, the more you use Photoshop, the more you will understand these things easily. You will know just what all this, but I just want to explain it as best as possible. You can also increase the opacity of the brush, how faint or how vivid or how solid the brush stroke will be coming out. You can change the flow. So say it comes all the way from being very light and it flows into a very hard stroke. There's a lot that you can adjust here, but over here, I'm going to create a new layer to show you just how it works. So click this, call this brush. Let's pick this hand round room, make the hardness 100 and make the size say also 100. Now we are on this brush layer. Obviously, it is using the color we picked that last time from this section when we used the eyedropper tool. That's the color it is using, but let's ride with it. Let's make this a little bigger just so that we don't waste our time. So this is the brush tool working. I have painted over this section, and if you notice, if you reduce the opacity, it becomes like this. You can see through. So yeah, this is this layer. But going over to opacity here, let's put it at 48. If you paint, see the difference between it at 100 and it at 48. If you reduce the flow also, if you look at the edges closely, you'll see that the flow is not 100%. It flows from a lighter color to a darker color. See, the lighter, even darker, even darker, even darker. So it is moving from like 42, which is where it starts from, all the way back to 100. The more you work with these softwares, the more you understand. For the sake of this tutorial and for the sake of the beginners that are trying to just get their ropes, I don't have time to go into details. However, I will be doing that in the next tutorial. Go ahead, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss, drop your comments, ask your questions, and let's get back into it. So next up, we have the clone stamp tool. Let's turn off this brush layer. And let's go back to our image layer. Yeah, if you guys want to see a video about the brush tool or more details about the brush tool, please leave a comment. I will attend to that in the next video. So with this, you can paint with pixels from other parts of your image. Let me explain what I mean. Say I want to use this silver floor. All you have to do is hold down the options key and then click. So what that kind of does is the clone stamp tool takes like a snapshot of that section like this, and then you can kind of use it to paint. It is taking pixels from a section of your image and using it to paint as opposed to using like colors to paint. So look at it. If you notice the little plus icon on your image here, that's the section that the clone tool is picking its pixels from and using it to paint. So if you notice, I can repaint her whole face at a different section just because I am picking it. And just like this, if I wanted to, I could create a duplicate of different sections of the image at different sections of the image, if you get what I mean. The history brush tool, let's leave that. You'll most likely not have to use that tool because I can't remember when last I did. Let's go over to the eraser tool. The eraser tool is also pretty self-explanatory. If I select a layer, say the image layer, I can make erasement to it like this. I can just clean across. Let's increase Ctrl Z Let's increase that to like say here, so we can just clean a section of the picture or clean her face up. Obviously this works on layers and also layer mask if you want to clean a section of the image, say her head. So yes, that is basically the eraser tool. Let's go over to the next tool. This is the gradient tool. This is another tool you can use in a lot of creative ways. For example, if I wanted to make this area, select your image. If I want to make a section of my image have a gradient or darker or something, let's create a new layer. So what you can do with the gradient tool, you can hold, right now this is the color we are on. We've not switched back. So if you want to switch back to like black and white, which is like the default color, you can just click on this here and then it immediately deletes that color that we earlier picked with the eyedropper tool. With the black and white selected, you can just do this and pull all the way in. And as you can see, you have created a gradient all the way from dark to white and then you just drop it. Make it an overlay so you can see what you are doing. So as you can see from this section to this section, we have added a bit of a darkness to this image all the way. You can also pick from the templates here. So in case you want to make it a pink, you can pick one of these and then see, you can pick this and then you see, you can pick a blue. Our next one is the blur tool. Let's go back to the image layer. I mean, also very self-explanatory. One thing about all the tools here is you can easily grab the understanding from just the name. It's like blurring out sections of your image. You can adjust the settings of your blur, obviously make it hard so it's visible. Increase the size. As you can see, blurring on the image, we have her face blurred out. So yeah, our next tool is the dodge tool. Under it, we have the burn tool, and then we also have the sponge tool. These three tools are used to change the brightness of some certain areas of your image, the darkness, and also the color saturation of some areas in your image. We can start with the dodge tool, as you can see. So you see what it does. It brightens up sections of the image. The more you click it, the brighter it gets. The burn tool, the darken sections of the image, sorry. Let's also increase that too. It darkens sections of the image. See, sponge tool, what it does is it increases the saturation. So where there is this blue in the background, sorry, can't you see? Let's also increase that. Where there's, so it's on desaturate. So what it's going to do here, it is going to remove color, as you can see. If you move over to saturate, you can get your color looking all poppy. Yes, that is all for that tool. Next up, we have the pen tool. The pen tool can be used to create shapes and like selections. And how you do it is by clicking a section of your image and clicking another section. You create the shape by connecting different points together. Let's zoom in a bit. Like this, you pull it down. I have gotten that edge. Tap on another side, pull it down. Tap on another side, pull it down. Keep on tracing. Let's just say I want to trace just her hair and not her body. We can do this. So as you can see, this is really great if you're trying to create like a really detailed selection. After that, we have the next tool, which is our text tool. With this, you can add text to your photo pretty easy. So for example, to illustrate, I'm going to click on this and create a new layer. Go back to your text. And then you can write anything. Hailking first. Let's make it more visible. Control A, your color over here, and let's make it white. Go over to your move tool, see how all the tools interact, and you can get it into a more visible space. Now watch layer arrangements. We have the main image, then we have our text, and then we have the cutouts here. Let's put this up. So this is the cutout that we made earlier. Arranging it like this, you can have your text fall behind the image in any creative, interesting way you want. Let's leave it like this, just so it's a bit. And as you can see, some sort of design is already coming together. Obviously, you can make as many adjustments to your text as you want. You can change the color, you can change the font, you can increase the size. The next tool is the rectangle tool. If you click on the little arrow at the drop bar, you realize you have many other shapes here. You have the ellipse tool, the triangle tool, polygon, line, and then the custom shape for random shapes you want to create. With this, you can open a new layer. You can immediately just create a selection that will create a rectangle, or change the color. An ellipse, I'll make it purple. As you can see, you can immediately start creating, crazier shapes with that. And then to further edit, you see these dots inside your rectangle shape. You can pull and then change the edges. You can also refill, change the color. You can add a stroke of a different color, of a different size, and more. Our next tool is the hand tool. This can be used to move things around, but like everything, so it's to pan around your whole image. Say you were extremely zoomed in like this, and you wanted to focus on a certain detail. To immediately move around, you can use the hand tool. And then our next tool is the magnifying tool. With this, I mean, you can use it to zoom in or go over here and zoom out. There are also shortcuts for this. With zoom, you click your Z. For the hand tool, you can click H. For the text tool, you can click T. For zooming, you can also use your command plus or minus to zoom in or out. So these are just some of the most used tools in Photoshop that you're going to be using on a daily basis in your design. Really, there are a lot more different things you can do, a lot more tools you can use. But I just want to show you the basics to start with. So let's get into the blending a little bit right now. So let's click our text layer here. Let's right click it and enter into our blend mode. Over here, click your blending options. This will pop up on your screen, the layer style. This also works with any kind of layer, by the way, but let's use the text layer to explain. Here you have a bunch of different options. You have the bevel, emboss, contour, texture, strokes, inner shadow, inner glow, satin, and more. Take this out of the way. Let's do this. So now, these are all the blending styles. If you click on bevel, you see what it does to your text. If you click on contour, you see it adds a little bit of shadow to your text. You click on the texture, you can add, as you can see, you can add different textures to your text layer. You can add a stroke, you can add glow, you can add a satin color, you can add a color overlay, and with this you can change the color of your text easily. You can add a gradient overlay. As you can see, it's going all the way from black to white, and there are many more templates as I showed you earlier. You can use this, and then you can see your text, everything gets applied. Pattern, outer glow, and drop shadow. These are just blending options, and this can be effected on any layer, not just the text layer. You can see the text layer. We have our bevel and emboss on this layer, and we have the gradient overlay. You can turn off the bevel and emboss only and see it's just a regular text with a gradient, or you can turn off the gradient only and it's just a regular text with bevel and emboss, or you can turn them all off and it's just your regular text. So with that, I will suggest you go and try to play around a bit just so that you have your own personal understanding, and you can personally know how you want to apply it in your design. Practice a bit. But for me personally, I don't always use things like this. I mostly use the drop shadow, use the inner shadow, inner glow at times on my layers. This kind of gives you like a 3D effect. So now let's go into the adjustment layers a little bit. Come here to adjustments, and then you select like a specific layer. Let's select our image layer. Let's select the cutout since it's most forward, and you go over to your adjustments. Adjust this specific layer that you picked with the presets they have here. Look. Back at the adjustment layer, if you want the adjustment to affect not just a particular image but everything, create a new layer above all the layers and put your adjustment on that layer. So here, everything turns black and white. Yeah, so I could go further. There's a lot more to learn here in Photoshop, but as a beginner, this will get you started. Once you're okay with your design, your project, you can go over to file and click export. You can quickly export as PNG. This doesn't give you the highest quality, or you can click export as, and here you can pick specific qualities you want to use. You can increase the quality to the highest. You can pick the image size, canvas size, and all that. Now I hope you found this tutorial very helpful, and now you can feel more comfortable using Photoshop. I really hope I could help. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss out. Drop a comment, ask your questions, like, and I'll see you in the next video.